Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Dear students and respected viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My name is Muhammad Shahnawaz Adil. I am the Assistant Professor of Strategic Management and Leadership at Iqra University, Karachi, Pakistan. Today we are going to talk about Exploratory Factor Analysis, EFA. For example, we have a conceptual framework, which is also known as research framework or a research model, in which we have on the left hand side you can see 6 independent variables or predictor, whereas on the right hand side we have only one outcome variable or latent variable, and both of these sets of variables are connected with the help of arrowheads. It means we are going to test their hypothesis. For example, playfulness is positively related with decision quality, or if you are going to use a non-directional hypothesis, you may write in this manner that playfulness has a significant effect on decision quality. So whether you are going to write down your hypothesis in the form of directional or non-directional hypothesis, it entirely depends on your research need as well as the knowledge available with respect to the underlying variables of your study. So I just use the word latent variable. So let me help you understand what do we mean by latent variable first before we proceed further. The word latent means hidden. In fact, it is an unobserved variable that are not directly measured in a survey questionnaire. For example, in the following snapshot of a questionnaire, you can see that boxes are not provided next to the recruitment and selection, whereas boxes are provided next to each indicator items. In short, the respondent will not give any response or responses to recruitment and selection. Thus, it will remain unobserved variable, hence called a latent or hidden variable. In contrast, the respondent can give responses to the indicator items, hence called observed or measured variable too. So what is the central idea? In short, latent variables are also known as unobserved variables as well as unmeasured variables, whereas indicators are also known as observed variables as well as measured variables. Another very important point we just understood, and that is a latent variable may be measured by only one item or indicator or more than one indicator item. For example, in this diagram, you can see that I have used 7 indicator items to measure playfulness, which is my first latent variable, and similarly, I have used another set of 7 indicator items to measure my another variable, that is usefulness. So this is the latent variable, and these are its respective indicators, and similarly, this is the second or another latent variable that you would like to measure with the help of this another set of 7 indicator items. By using a smart PLS software, let me describe the same concept in a different way. Boxes in the green color, boxes in the yellow color, you can see on the left hand side, they are indicators, and boxes, or you can say a red circle, they are the latent variable. So you can clearly observe there are 7 indicator items for playfulness, and similarly 7 Likert scale items or indicator items for measuring usefulness. Can we say that the playfulness is reflected by these 7 items as well as usefulness is reflected by these 7 usefulness items? Yes, very good. And similarly, in other words, we can also use the same concept in this way, that these 7 items, they reflect playfulness, whereas these 7 items of usefulness, they reflect another latent variable. Because these yellow ones, they are the reflect. In fact, they reflect their latent variable. That's why they are also known as reflective indicators. At the moment, we are going to restrict our discussion up to reflective indicators, whereas in the subsequent videos, we are going to talk about the second type of indicator, that is formative. So what could be done? We could have developed a research questionnaire in which each latent variable is measured by only one indicator item. So if we have 7 latent variables, then we would be having only 7 indicator items. So is it a problem? Yes, it will give you an observational error, or also known as a measurement error, because there is a likelihood that one item does not or may not completely explain the latent variable. Therefore, it is highly advised to use more than one indicator items. Let me describe the same concept with the help of two snapshots of a questionnaire. In the top one, you can see one latent variable is measured by 7 indicators, whereas in the bottom one, you can see recruitment and selection is measured by only one item. Similarly, one item for performance appraisal, one item for training and development, and one item for compensation and reward. So in short, my question is, which specific questionnaire set will give you a high rate of measurement error? The top one or the bottom one? Yes, you are right. The top one is going to reduce the measurement error because you are going to measure recruitment and selection with the help of more than one item. Whereas in the bottom one, you can see the measurement error tends to increase because you are going to measure one latent variable with the help of only one item. So it is highly advised to use more than one indicator item. Another question arises, how many? 2, 3, 4, 10. So in the latest edition, that is the 8th edition of multivariate data analysis, Professor Joseph here with his colleagues in 2019, page number 134, they have clearly mentioned that if a study is being designed to reveal factor structure, strive to have at least 5 variables for each proposed factor. Over here, variables means indicator items and factor means latent variable. So what is the central idea? Every latent variable should have at least 5 indicator items. So in a nutshell, measurement error is going to reduce if you are going to increase the number of Likert scale items. So here we have the conceptual framework and the total number of Likert scale items we have 43. How we have 43 items? Let me present the structure of the given data set. EFA.sav. SAV is the file extension that you use to create a file in SPSS. We have 7 Likert scale items for playfulness, which is my first IV, and similarly 8 Likert scale items for another latent variable, that is decision quality. And what is the role of this variable in my model? That is the outcome variable that you would like to predict. Besides that, we have also 5 demographical variables in the model, that is gender, age, experience, education, and frequency of purchase. And the objective of using these demographical variables in the data set for the sole purpose of performing descriptive analysis. Next question, why EFA? Actually, we have collected our data in the form of 43 indicators to minimize the measurement error. But we need only 7 latent variables to answer the following research question. And that is, how well can we predict decision quality using a combination of these 6 variables: playfulness, complaint, atypical use, usefulness, joy, and information acquisition. So my another question over here is, the variable which is shown in red color, is it an outcome variable or an independent variable? Yes, you are absolutely right. Great. This is the outcome variable, whereas the variable which are shown in green color, they are the predictors or independent variable. So in short, you have collected data in the form of Likert scale items, and you need all of these. You need to have, you can say, latent variable. That's why there is a need to apply exploratory analysis. So in short, exploratory analysis is a data reduction technique which converts your Likert scale item into the form of variables. So if somebody asks you, what do you mean by factor analysis? So if you would like to properly define it, you can say that factor analysis is an interdependence technique whose primary purpose is to define the underlying structure among the variables in the analysis. Moreover, it examines the interrelationship among a large number of variables and then attempts to explain them in terms of their common underlying dimensions or factor. Another question arises, what do you mean by interdependence technique? Interdependence technique is a classification of a statistical technique in which the variables are not divided into the form of dependent and independent sets. Rather, all variables are analyzed simultaneously as a single set. So what next? In the next video, we are going to learn how to apply exploratory factor analysis, also called dimension reduction, in SPSS. Thank you very much, dear students and respected viewers. I wish you love, light, health, and prosperity. Thank you very much.